Good evening, Counselor Santos checking in.
Hi,
Hi,
Councillor
Councillor
Santos. Can
we
you hear
can
us
hear
okay?
you.
So much.
Thanks.
Good evening, this is Counselor Barr checking in.
Hi, Councillor Barr. We can hear you just fine. Can you hear us okay?
We can, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Councillor Fortini. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we can hear you as well. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Planning and Development Committee, Monday, January 13th. I'll do a roll call. Deputy Mayor Singh.
Present.
Councillor Santos.
Present.
Councillor Vincente.
Present.
Councillor Quarbrar.
Present.
Councillor Keenan. Councillor Medeiros. Councillor Fortini.
Present.
Councillor Tour. Councillor Power. We'll go back to Councillor Keenan.
Present.
Okay, we're bare quorum, and we'll keep an eye on Councillor Medeiros, Tour, and Power to see if they join us shortly. We have approved the agenda. Been moved by Deputy Mayor that the agenda as circulated be approved. All in favor? That carries. Declarations of conflict of interest under the Municipal Act. Any members have declare a conflict of interest? Seeing none in person, any online? Seeing none. And we'll note that Councillor Medeiros just joined us. Thank you, Councillor Medeiros. Consent motion. We don't have anything for consent. Note we have our creation of zoning bylaw regulations to apply to large statues and monuments, 7.1. That'll be in consent. 7.2. We do have a delegation from Patrick Pearson, Glenschnar and Associates. Patrick here. Are you still going on your delegation? Okay. And we'll be hearing from the from one of the planners of Glenschnar and Associates on the Bramwest Secondary Plan. 8.1, the Active Transportation Committee minutes. Consent. Everything else will be dealt with in the order of the agenda. And we'll go straight, we have one delegation for 5.1, 5.2, we have a delegation 5.3, and we have audience members wanting to hear 5.1 as well. Sorry, 5.2. We have audience members that are here for that. I'll ask if anybody is here for item 5.1, city-initiated report, public meeting, official plan amendment to the Region of Peel official plan, Schedule E4, Heritage Heights Secondary Plan. Anybody in the audience would like to hear the staff presentation on this? Again, it's the official plan amendment to the Region of Peel official plan, Schedule E4, Heritage Heights Secondary Plan, to propose an amendment to Schedule E4 of the Region of Peel official plan, removing the employment area designation from the subject lands to allow a broader range of uses. Anybody? That item is adjourned. Next, we have item 5.2. We have AmDev Property Group to permit the development of 45-story, 48-story mixed-use development with 915 units, commercial space for 4 levels of underground at 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, and 29 Mill Street North and 53 Nelson Street West, Ward 1. We have Chinoy Sunny. Welcome. Ready when you are.
To the process and review the subject application. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by AmDev Property Group to permit the development of a 45-story and 48-story mixed-use development with 915 units 840 square meters of commercial space, and 310 underground parking spaces. Next slide, please. The lands are located in Ward 1. The proposal consists of a consolidation of 8 lots municipally known as 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29 Mill Street North, and 53 Nelson Street West. The site is located south of Nelson Street West and west of Mill Street North. Next slide, please. This slide shows an overview of the subject site within the property and surrounding land uses. The property is located within the major transit station area for the Brampton Innovation Go. MTSAs are areas intended for intensification, and municipalities are required by provincial legislation to meet minimum density targets within a delineated MTSA boundary. To the north, towards Nelson Street West, there are existing low-rise residential developments. Beyond those are land subject to a development proposal for a high-rise mixed-use building and the Brampton Innovation District Go. To the south and east, there are also existing low-rise residential developments. Beyond those are land subject to a development proposal for a high-rise mixed-use building. And to the west, there are existing low-rise residential buildings, beyond which is Park Street. Next slide, please. This is a closer aerial view of the subject property and the surrounding area. As you can see, the site resides on existing low-rise residential lands. Please note that this application was previously brought to public meeting on June 17th in 2024. Next slide, please. This slide displays photos from a site visit conducted. The first photo is a view from the intersection of Mills Street North and Nelson Street West. The second photo is a view looking from Mills Street North, and the last photo is a view looking from Nelson Street West. Next slide, please. The applicant has submitted an application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw in order to facilitate a residential intensification development of a 45 and 48-story mixed-use building with a total of 915 units varying in sizes ranging from 1 to 3 bedrooms. 310 parking spaces are proposed. 550 bicycle parking spaces are proposed. An indoor amenity space of 1,508 square meters and an outdoor amenity space of 1,120 square meters. The proposed gross floor index is 14.4, and the proposed net floor space index is 16.83. There is also proposed to be commercial space of 840 square meters. Next slide, please. A tertiary plan is a land use study used to guide development proposals within a specific area. The city can require them from applicants to demonstrate how the development of their site can be coordinated with other properties. A tertiary plan was submitted for this application and, if approved, would be attached as an appendix to the secondary plan. Some key items that staff are currently reviewing as part of this tertiary plan include appropriate heights within the area, appropriate building separations and transition zones to the existing 2-story townhouses, and the appropriate location of the outdoor amenity space area. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing recommendations to council, this application will be further evaluated for consistency with the Planning Act, provincial policy statement, the City of Brampton official plan, and the Downtown Brampton secondary plan. Next slide, please. The subject lands are designated central area in the City of Brampton official plan, which permits a freestanding or mixed-use development that includes a range of office, retail, and service activities. As such, an amendment to the official plan is not required for this application. Next slide, please. Brampton's new official plan, Brampton Plan, was adopted by City Council in November 2023 and approved by the Region of Peel in May 2024. The updated August 2024 office consolidation incorporates the region's decisions and modifications. There are portions of Brampton Plan that are still under appeal, and the city is currently working on a consolidation to reflect these policies and schedules under appeal in the plan. The subject site for the proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendment are designated mixed use in Schedule 13B, and community areas, urban centers, and primary major transit station area in Schedule 1A. Please note that MTSAs are areas intended for intensification, and municipalities are required by provincial legislation to meet minimum density targets within the area. The location of the property is located downtown and is in close proximity to the Brampton GO Station. The mixed-use designation in Schedule 13B of Brampton's new official plan allows for increased intensification on the lands. Next slide, please. The subject land is located within the downtown Brampton secondary plan and is designated medium density. The proposed development does not fall within the uses of the medium density designation, and as such, an amendment to the secondary plan is required to permit the proposed development. Next slide, please. The lands are zoned residential extended 1 zone as per the city's zoning bylaw. Land use permissions include low to medium density residential uses and other accessory uses. An amendment to the zoning bylaw is therefore required to facilitate the proposed development. Next slide, please. As such, the applicant is proposing to amend the zoning bylaw from the current residential extended 1 zone to a downtown commercial zone with a special section. Some highlights of the proposed zone include an apartment dwelling, only in conjunction with an apartment dwelling or mixed-use building. The commercial uses proposed in the downtown commercial zone are allowed. A maximum tower floor plate of 750 square meters and a maximum building height of 155 meters, which is equivalent to 48 stories. Next slide, please. At this time, preliminary issues and considerations that will need to be addressed include land use compatibility and the emergent MTSA framework. As stated before, the subject lands are within the MTSA boundary area. As such, staff are looking to ensure that the appropriate mitigation measures, building separation, and landscape buffers are sensitive to the existing 2-story townhomes within the area. This will be further examined through the tertiary plan process. Building height, separation, and setbacks. The proposed development will need to ensure that appropriate height, tower separation, and building setbacks are implemented through the zoning bylaw amendment process. Tertiary plan. Furthermore, staff are looking to ensure that the redevelopment potential of neighboring parcels within the block are not impacted by the proposed development. Lastly, technical issues within this proposal. The proposed development must take into account the technical issues such as traffic, construction impacts, servicing, wind, shadowing, etc., to be deemed appropriate for the development area. These issues and others will be addressed in a further recommendation report. Next slide, please. Staff is hosting a statutory public meeting this evening to share information on the proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendment on the subject site and provide an opportunity for members of the public to express comments, perspectives, and opinions. Staff will continue to review the applicant's planning rationale and supporting plans, drawings, and technical comments. And staff will advance a final recommendation report for council decision in the future based on the details of the proposed development and applicable planning laws and policies, while incorporating comments and considerations from community members, technical reviewers, and other stakeholders. Staff will also follow up with members of the public and other stakeholders who have spoken, written in, or advised of an interest in monitoring this proposal. Next slide, please. For more information on the development proposal, the applicant submission materials, including architectural plans and supporting studies, are all publicly accessible through the city's Brand Plan online portal. Type the file number of the application in the required field, which in this case it is OZS 2024-0033. This will bring up a file page where by clicking the File Info tab, you will be allowed to view all drawings and documents associated with this development. Next slide, please. This public meeting presentation will be available online and as part of the Brampton Planning and Development Committee meeting minutes. The final recommendation report will be posted on the city's PDC meeting agenda and in advance of a future meeting. For any questions or comments about this application, please contact myself, my manager, or the applicant, Jenna Donaldson from AMDEV Property Group. The corresponding contact info is shown on the screen. Next slide, please. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you very much. I'll go now to the audience. Is there any members in the public that would like to come down and delegate on this item. Now is your opportunity. If you'd like to come down, say a few words, come on down. Sorry about that. I was actually excited somebody was here to delegate. So. You have 5 minutes. Please go ahead and state your name for the record.
Yes, of course. Angela Hema. I'm a residential owner of 15 Mill Street North, immediately adjacent to the subject property lands that we're considering for development. I've gone through, and I apologize because I've only received this information late Thursday, so I've had limited time to really understand what's happening with these lands, but I do have a few immediate concerns. Number one, I know that Sunny just mentioned the concerns with regards to the abutment and the appropriate height and separations between that and the subdivision townhouse complex immediately behind it. However, I'm immediately beside it, and I don't see in any of the paperwork, nor did I hear it addressed here, what that would look like for my property. I have a two-story multi-unit residential complex with 4 units with substantial parking immediately adjacent to the lands. Today I was looking through at the actual site plan with property line divisions, and it looks like they intersect into my property, immediately into my property, severing a portion of it actually. It looks like it goes through my roof. So I'm really trying to find validation on the property lines themselves, if I can have that validated. So I'm looking to have that done. And I'd really like to understand with 500 potential bicycles, there is no bicycle lane. There are sidewalks that I maintain for my own property for slip and fall accidents in the wintertime. And in the summertime, I maintain my properties with a contractor. But I'd like to understand where potentially 500 bicycles are going to go with no bicycle lanes. Not that I'm looking for bicycle lanes, but I want to understand what that means for traffic. I didn't see that in the plans, nor did I see that in any area that was addressing bicycles. I do understand that there is a right-of-way that's looking to widen the space. As an adjacent property owner, I'd like to understand what the implications are for my property. They've just recently, as of last summer, replaced the hydro poles, and clearly this was in mind when they did that because they tethered them into my property. So there is an obstruction on my property, on my, well, I say my property, but on the boulevard section of the lands immediately in front of my property. But I'd like to understand what road widening is and the implications of that on my property. And of course, waste and waste collections. I understand there was a waste study. I do understand that there was some considerations with access for the waste vehicle. And it looks like that's been unresolved at this point in the waste study, as far as I can gather, again, with the limited time I've had to review it. But of course, with adjacent lands, I'd like to understand the implications of waste as it relates to my property. There's a tremendous amount of new residences going into this space. I do understand from Sunny just now that it allows for 48 stories. The plan itself looks like it's 48 stories plus mechanical, so it's looking like from a total height perspective to be superseding or exceeding that limitation. I'd like to fully understand what that means, and that was the extent of what I was able to get into. But again, as an adjacent property owner, there look like there are a few considerations that have not yet been addressed in the information provided.
Okay, thank you, Angela. We're going to ask you to go into we have a book in the back. We already have Angela's information. Perfect. Then we're going to reach out to you if there's any additional information that comes up.
Okay, and anything that's outstanding, I apologize, and anything that's outstanding that has not yet been resolved, if something does need to be tabled or furthered, will I be apprised of this additional information as it's provided?
100%. And if you have any other questions, you can contact us at the city, because you had stated that you just received.
On Thursday evening.
So if there's
or
anything
late
else
day.
that comes up, email those questions in, and all of your questions will be captured in the report when it comes to council.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay, I appreciate
you.
that. Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience like to come down and delegate on this item? Seeing none. Richard? Richard Domes, Gagnon Walker Domes, on behalf of MDev Property Group.
Thank you. Again, Richard Jones from GWD. We are a planning consultant to AMDEV in connection with this application to amend the downtown secondary plan and the city zoning bylaw to implement city council's high-rise vision for the property pursuant to the new Brampton plan. Next slide, please. Initially, the application consisted of 5 lots located at 23 to 29 Mill Street North and 53 Nelson Street West. The application has been expanded to include the properties at 17, 19, and 21 Mill Street. The land subject to the application now represent approximately half of the Mill Street North frontage between Queen and Nilsson, and 25% of the block area bounded by Mill Street, Queen, Park, and Nilsson Street West. Next slide, please. The subject site is located within downtown Brampton, which is the physical and cultural core of the city, and the strategic location for significant redevelopment and intensification potential centered around the Brampton Innovation District GO Station and downtown Brampton Bus Terminal, which are located within 300 meters of the subject site. Next slide, please. From a policy perspective, the site is located within the Brampton Urban Growth Center and an MTSA and along a regional intensification corridor. The subject site is located in an area of the city where the tallest buildings and the highest densities are planned. Next slide, please. The site is designated high-rise mixed use within the Brampton GO MTSA land use plan of the new Brampton plan. With the exception of the lands to the immediate west, the majority of the surrounding lands are planned for high-rise buildings. Currently, no maximum heights are prescribed in the city's primary MTSA. It is the intent of Brampton plan that the downtown area transition from its more suburban character to a more urbanized mixed-use and transit-oriented community. Next slide, please. Initially, the application advanced one 48-story residential-only building oriented towards the intersection. It included 549 residential units, 35% of which were family-sized units, which are typically described as 2- and 3-bedroom units. Next slide, please. The expanded proposal advances an integrated mixed-use building comprised of 2 towers, a 48-story tower at the intersection with a 45-story tower to the south. It includes 915 residential units, which are planned to include a variety of unit types and sizes, including 52% of which that are now family-sized units. It includes 310 parking spaces, and access is limited to Mill Street North. Road widenings are contemplated along Nilsson Street West and Mill Street North. Next slide, please. A 0-meter lot line setback along the subject street frontages is proposed post-widenings. Along Nilsson Street, the building podium has been pulled back from the west lot line to provide a 7.5-meter landscape setback along Nilsson Street West. This separation provides a physical transition between the existing townhouses to the west and the proposed development. 2-level townhouse-style units have been integrated into the base building along Nelson Street, which are identified in the blue hatch on your screen. A defined commercial entrance has been strategically located at the intersection of Mill Street North and Nilsson Street West. The 9,000 square feet of non-residential space that is now proposed within the development may accommodate some form of retail or other dynamic non-residential use to support the city's efforts in the promotion of the Brampton Innovation District and the mixed-use downtown vision. Along Mill Street North, 2 residential lobbies have been located on either side of the primary accessway to serve each tower independently. An additional non-residential commercial space anchors the south edge of the Mill Street frontage. Along the south lot line, the setback to the building has been increased to 5.5 meters, and 2-story townhouse-style units with at-grade entrances have also been incorporated along this edge of the building podium. Along the west lot line, a 7.5-meter building setback is proposed to the base building podium, which increases to 24.5, where the podium has been notched out to facilitate the internal service courtyard. Next slide, please. The multi-level landscaping program from the ground level to the 5th provides a dynamic and cascading landscape buffer along the west and the south lot lines that shall be perceived horizontally and vertically to soften the building built form elements. Sorry. Okay, thank you. The next slide should be up. Thank you. So that is the horizontal and vertical landscape elements. Next slide again, please. Above the 4-story podium, the towers have been stepped back to ensure that the base building podium reads as the primary defining element from the adjacent public realm. A 25-meter tower separation distance has been provided between the 2 towers, along with slender 750 square meter floor plates. The combination of tower separation and smaller floor plates shall result in slimmer and faster moving shadows to minimize shadowing impact on adjacent properties. Tower elements of the development have been set back a minimum of 10 meters from the west property line and 12.5 meters from the south property line. Next slide, please. An angular plane assessment was prepared to analyze the proposal's built form transition from the limit of the MTSA boundary where the more stable residential neighborhoods are to be located. The angular plane analysis shows that development in orange falls beneath the 45-degree angular plane, And on the last slide, the changes between the initial proposal and the expanded proposal are highlighted. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Richard. There are no questions. We have Councilor Vincente will move the public meeting file to permit the development of 45-story and 48-story mixed-use development with 915 units. Receive that file, receive the added delegation and Richard Dome's delegation, plus the correspondence from Patrick Silva. All in favor? That carries. I did want to really quickly ask, was there anybody here that wanted to hear the staff presentation on behalf of the West Humber Developments to facilitate residential development consisting of 419 apartment units, 20-story, a 22-story, two-tower development, 120 apartments at 10350 the Gore Road? Was there anybody here in attendance that wanted to hear that? Did I get a point? Did you point to somebody? No? Nobody? Marshall Smith, would you like to withdraw your delegation?
Yes.
Thank you, Marshall. That item is adjourned. And then we'll also, Councillor Deputy Mayor Singh, you'll receive the one item of correspondence, Camilla Lucas, Brampton resident, correct? Thank you very much. In favor, all in favor? That carries. That's it for public meetings? Okay, 7.1 is consent. 7.2, staff report, Bram West Secondary Plan Review Process and Update for wards 4 and 6. We have Tristan Costa, Policy Planner, Integrated City Planning, that is here to provide any answers to your question. We have a delegation. One delegation is where's my delegation? Patrick Pearson, Glenchnar and Associates, on behalf of Bram West. Come on down, Patrick. That was the item you were delegating on, right? Yep, okay. You have 5 minutes, Patrick.
Patrick Pearson. I'm an associate planner with Glenchnar and Associates. Our firm, along with another planning firm, Gagnon Walker Domes, jointly represents the Block 40-5 landowner group. So the Block 40-5 landowner group owns several properties within the block plan area, which is within the Bram West secondary plan area, and we estimate that they own approximately 50% of the net developable area within the block. As you can see on the screen, the block area is outlined in red. It's located in the northwest quadrant of the secondary plan area, generally centered along Embleton Road and Heritage Road to the west and Winston Churchill Road to the east. The landowner group's actively working towards a block plan application, and they intend to redevelop and redesignate these lands for a mixed-use community. I'm here today on behalf of the landowner group to provide a bit of background information, as well as provider support and our comments on the staff report. So for some context, we've been working with various landowners within this area for almost a decade now, trying to advance a block plan application. More recently, we attended a formal pre-consultation meeting in September of 2024 to advance a formal precinct application. However, the advancement of a formal block plan application over the years has been halted or paused for various reasons, which are all outlined in the staff report, namely being the Highway 413 environmental assessment and the Heritage Heights secondary plan appeal. Our team's been patiently and cooperatively working with city staff while these sort of various obstacles and items have been addressed or are working towards being addressed. Although given that the Highway 413 corridor is now 90% complete and the Heritage Heights secondary plan appeal has been resolved, we think it's now an appropriate time to advance or re-engage the secondary plan review. And we think it's an appropriate time to start considering advancing block plan applications in the area. So as part of this delegation, I'd like to, state the following items. Number one, we're in agreement with staff's recommendation report. particularly with respects to reengaging the secondary plan review. Number 2, we'd like to request that the landowner group get to review and comment on the draft concept plan before it's tabled in Q1 of 2025. We think being able to work with our landowner group and the city staff will allow us to have a common development vision goal, and that could possibly mitigate any future contentions or issues, and we want to expedite this review, so we think that can help sort of meet these Q1 target timelines. And then lastly, we'd like city staff to explore opportunities to allow the block plans to be advanced in conjunction with the secondary plan review. We think working collaboratively with city staff, using our technical resources and expertise will help them, inform them, and we can work collaboratively, and I think that will also help expedite the review process. So I guess just in closing, I want to commend staff for their work on the staff report, and they've been great with working with us up until this point. We've had several meetings and calls and discussions, and they've been forthcoming, and they've been giving us great advice and direction, so I just want to thank them for that, and we look forward to working with everyone going forward to try to get stuff moving forward on these lines, so thank you.
For sure, Patrick, thank you very much for your delegation.
Yeah.
I can say that all of your requests will 100% be met. That is our plan, and staff are looking forward to going into this. So
Awesome.
thank you
Well,
very much for your delegation.
We look forward to working with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brar will move receipt of the staff report, Bram West Secondary Plan Process and Update Awards 4 and 6, with our planners Tristan Costa and the delegation 7.2.1, Patrick Pearson. Was there correspondence on this item? No. All in favor? That carries. There is no other business, no referred matters, no general correspondence. Councillor question period. Any members have any questions that they'd like to ask? Seeing none. Public question period. Anybody from the public like to come up and ask any questions? Seeing one. Or no question, just one member of the public. I apologize. No closed session. It is now time for adjournment. It's been moved by Councillor Power to adjourn today's meeting, and our next regular scheduled meeting is Monday, February 10th. No, yeah, that's not our next scheduled meeting. Oh, right, the next one was canceled. This one is February, yes. We'll see everybody that's February 10th. All in favor? That carries. Have a great night, everybody.